This evening, Running on E, one of the federal government's most popular programs, nearly runs out of cash just 4 days after it is launched. Tonight, we take a look at the efforts underway to save the Cash For Clunkers program and talk about its impact on the troubled auto industry with car expert Lauren Fix. Good evening and welcome to Capitol Tonight this Friday evening. I'm Erin Billups. Earlier this year, with auto sales slumping and the country's three biggest car makers teetering on the verge of bankruptcy, the federal government enacted several plans to help bail out the big manufacturers and entice consumers to start buying cars again. It turns out that one of those plans has worked, far better than Congress expected. It's called the Cash For Clunkers bill, and what it does is pay owners of older gas-guzzling vehicles as much as $4,500 to trade in their cars for a more fuel-efficient means of transportation. Congress put $1 billion toward funding the plan, thinking only a couple 100,000 Americans would take advantage of it. Turns out it's very popular. In just the 4 days the program has been in operation, tens of thousands of people have traded in their cars, forcing federal officials to halt the program, which is supposed to last until November. Tonight, the crisis has been averted thanks to emergency action from Congress. Well, the Senate is expected to pass the extension to the Cash For Clunkers program next week, and President Obama has already praised Congress for their actions, calling the plan a successful part of the nation's economic recovery. But will this plan really help the ailing auto industry? Joining us to help answer that question is automotive expert Lauren Fix, a self-proclaimed car coach. She joins us from Buffalo tonight. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you for having me.
So, on the surface, this looks like a great plan for the to help the auto industry. Is that right? Is that your opinion?
Well, actually, my opinion is I think that the plan pulls demand forward. It does not create new demand, which means basic economics of supply and demand. There was a lot of supply, and everyone kind of waited for this program to come into place because they had vehicles they would have traded in anyhow. So they did is they basically overstimulated those people that were going to purchase. They waited, and now they've got a huge influx of about 250,000 people who said, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of that plan. It's not creating new demand. It's not causing people who wouldn't have bought cars. Those people that wouldn't have bought cars would be people that continually lease, people that have poor credit, maybe unemployed, or those people that always bought fuel-efficient cars. They're totally ineligible for this program because they don't qualify. So for many people, although it may sound great on the surface, if you really look deep into it, there are a lot of issues with this program.
Yeah, some of those issues include some issues with paperwork. The federal government has been rejecting a significant number of the transactions that have already taken place because of improper filling out of the paperwork, or it's illegible. What does this mean for the dealerships who are thinking they're going to get all this money back, and then the government rejects their applications?
Well, it means a lot of paperwork. They've actually got a person who specializes at almost every single dealer that does nothing but this CARS program. Now, what people need to understand is that vehicle that you own that was registered and insured in your name for at least 1 year must go to you. So in other words, you can't give that credit to a friend or another family member. That car would have to be registered in your name. And another issue that's happened in the 4 days that this program has been available is initially you could go to the website and the car may have said that it got 17 miles to the gallon or less. Suddenly those people are going back to the website and now their car is stated as having 19 miles to the gallon. This was found by Edmunds.com as they were investigating, finding that hundreds of cars that were listed as eligible became ineligible. So the dealers did the paperwork thinking they were getting good deals, and they were no deal with the government.
Man, a lot of problems with this. So another good question is what happens to the cars once they're traded in? They're supposed to be destroyed, right? Is that
right? And that's another big question. They're supposed to put what's basically liquid glass, without getting into the chemical formulation. They would pour it into the engine. The service department was supposed to run it for a period of time till the engine ceased. At that point, then they would have that vehicle go to a salvage yard, which is supposed to be turned into scrap. However, there are a few variables. First off, you can't control that without having a used car czar, which we do not have, and that would be a very difficult person's job right there. But on the other hand, those vehicles that stop working, when they go to the salvage yard, there's nothing left of value. Cars are being traded in without doors, without back seats, without custom wheels. All the goodies have been taken off, and in many cases, dealers have taken off parts for other cars that they have on their lot in order to upgrade them. Therefore, the salvage yards are getting cars that require $200 worth of scrappage for mercury switches and all kinds of fluids that are considered hazardous waste. Then the car is either destroyed or left to be picked at for parts as used cars, for used cars.
I mean, but there's got to be an upside to this program. Less gas guzzlers on the road, replaced with more fuel-efficient cars, right?
Well, on the upside, it's getting 2008 and 2009 models, new cars only, off the lots. And that is really important because more cars were produced than what was needed. At one point, we were selling 16 million cars a year. That dropped to around 12 million last year. And we're going to be lucky if we reach 10 million cars in total sales for this year for all of the U.S. marketplace. If that is the case, then we need to get some of those cars off the lot because the 2010 cars will be coming in September. So this is a good timing to get this package out. Unfortunately, a better choice would have been to give every current driver on the road $1,000 toward a new car or $1,000 toward maintaining their existing cars, because the Car Care Council has found that most people don't take care of their cars, whether they're new or used, and that's what's causing more pollution than the clunker itself.
And you're saying offering every driver, whether with no eligibility standards, $1,000. That's what you're saying they should have done?
That would be my suggestion. Another choice would have been to make every manufacturer offer diesel cars, because that would have lowered fossil fuels. It would have lowered our demand on import gasoline. There's a lot of other choices. Unfortunately, the government is not one that produces product. They are basically a service industry, essentially. They're trying to help people. But unfortunately, there's a lot of times they don't consult with people that are in the business industry. There's tons of people that work in the auto industry that could have given some great advice. And part of it would be to open it up to all people and not be discriminatory to just those people who could afford to upgrade their cars, because they're finding that many of the people that are trading in their clunkers are purchasing luxury vehicles like Lexus and Audi and BMW, and they're getting the sale rather than it being a domestic manufacturer.
So bottom line, do you think this program should be funded even more? You heard, as you know, today that Congress passed an emergency piece of legislation to give the program another $2 billion. The Senate is on schedule to pass it next week. Or is this something that should be worked on a little bit more, the fine print worked out a little better to help out the industry a little better?
Well, I think if they're going to help out the industry, there could be other plans that would have worked better. But to take another $2 billion, which you're taking out of the energy policy for technology on new cars, that's where they're coming from the $789 billion that's sitting there. They're going to take $2 billion out of that and put it back in the program. So they're robbing from Peter to pay Paul. You can only print so much money. They really need to take the time to look at the program and see what worked and what didn't, and make adjustments rather than just throwing more money at it, because the Senate still has to vote. I know that John McCain is also one that is against this program, and he's going to fight it. So if it doesn't pass, the program's over. Those people that did get deals that did pass through will continue to happen. They will get their car deals. They claimed to the U.S. government that it would happen through the weekend. We're not 100% sure. I would absolutely check with your dealer, but if you're not eligible, my personal suggestion, go to the dealer and negotiate with them. If your car said 17 miles to the gallon on the cars.gov website and now it says 19, go to the dealer and see if they'll work a deal with you anyhow, because they need to get rid of these vehicles off the lot, and they can't guarantee this program is going to continue. So this weekend might be a good time to make a good deal.
Well, that's definitely some good advice from the car coach, Lauren Fix. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.